Welcome to the Divine Connection Podcast. I'm your host, Cristina Aroche, and together we are walking the path of discovering your true self and the alignment with your soul. Through these conversations, you will experience a deeper level of connection with yourself and the universe, and most importantly, you will trust in your spiritual journey ahead. Let's begin. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode where I will be channeling divine guidance from the angels. Today, we have our guest, Lauren, who is joining us. And in this episode, we are going to be talking about the process of expansion and really, trusting in the steadiness of our journey, trusting in the rhythm that is meant to be guiding us and leading us, and how to stay connected to that rhythm. So let's begin. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode. Today, I am joined by Lauren. I am so excited to have her here with us today for another angel channeling session. So, Lauren, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here.
Oh, thank you. I'm really excited.
Yay! Awesome. So let's get started. I want to first of all ask you to share a little bit about in terms of where you are right now on your journey and just kind of giving us a little bit of context, and then what kind of questions do you have for the angels today?
I'm happy to sort of have you share whatever comes through. I'm really at a really good space at the moment.
Awesome.
I've just sort of walked into a really good role in the last week. So everything's sort of a bit buzzy around me. Everything's pretty full on. I think I'm also pretty aware of my next step as well. Of where I'm going to study further, and it's just a really exciting time. I'm enjoying all the buzzy energy, and
Yes. I love that. I love that. And as you say that, I can feel it and I can see that buzzy energy. I feel like I just see this sparkly energy that's kind of surrounding you and filling up your aura. So I just love that so much. I think that's so exciting. And I can jump right in right now to just share what's coming through, and then we'll just kind of go back and forth and see where this conversation takes us. But as soon as we started talking, I really, really feel the Herschel Angel Alexandra coming forward for you very strongly. So she's coming in. She's different from the archangels, but she is just as supportive and has an amazing, powerful role as a whole for us as a collective to support our evolution. But what she's showing me right now in terms of, just your experience, where you're at right now, what's happened over the past week, what's happening for you energetically, is I feel this expansiveness. Like, she's showing me your energy, and it feels like it's funny because I see it doing, when you think of breath, like when we breathe, there's like a little bit of a contraction, then expansion, contraction, expansion. That's what I see happening with your energy, kind of like, and it's very similar to the breath. So what she's talking about is giving you the awareness and the perspective that the contraction and the expansion that we feel, or that we feel as we're breathing, it's the same thing that happens as we are expanding energetically, except that the expansion, when we are what is it? I'm like, breathing in is when we expand. I'm like trying to think of what happens with the breath. So when you're expanding, it's like it goes a little bit further than the previous time. Do you know what I mean? There's a little bit of a contraction, then you expand a little bit further than before. That's what she's showing it to me as. And so she's bringing this forward as a way to help you to know that there's a rhythm. She's talking about a rhythm now, that there's a rhythm to this experience for you. There's a rhythm to what you're going through. And so as you go through the different kind of waves of the rhythm, she's talking about it in the sense of supporting you to ride those waves and to be in the attunement to the rhythm. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes when we're trying to go faster than the rhythm, or try to be in a different position than where the rhythm wants to take us, that's when we start to experience resistance, or that's when we start to experience a feeling of trying to control things or trying to manipulate a situation to happen a certain way, or whatever the thing is. We start to maybe feel anxious or nervous or whatever. And so she's talking about it in the sense of, you're in this beautiful rhythm right now, and I feel you in the wave of it. And she's here to support you to continue to stay in the wave of it. So what she's saying is that if you notice yourself, sometimes our mind tries to rush us or tries to get us to go faster or to go, whatever way that the mind likes to try to take control. She's talking about it in the sense of helping you to be aware when that happens or when that comes to be, so that you can, in that moment of awareness, be like, oh, wait a second, there's my mind trying to get ahead or do this or do that.
Okay.
And that way you can say, okay, Alexandra, help me to stay in tune with the rhythm. Help me to be in tune with what the rhythm is actually telling me in this moment. Do you know what I mean? So when we open ourselves up to what is the rhythm that you want me to be in right now, then, or that's meant for me right now, then we open ourselves up to the invitation to be led by the rhythm, aka led by the divine, led by the divine unfolding, rather than trying to control the divine unfolding and make it happen faster or in a specific way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes, I do. Yep. Yeah.
Awesome. Good. Do you have any thoughts or questions that come up just, from that bit that I just shared right now?
Well, I suppose that is probably the area that I'm struggling with, that whole mind body issue. And so basically I'm studying a course, and I went in to ask for some volunteer hours to get my certificate. And that same afternoon, they called me back and offered me a job to pay me, like, for.
Wow.
And so I could feel that it was big information coming on the phone, and I could feel my body tense up, and through my head was, I've got another job. I have to, tell them I have to do this. Will it be all right with the kids? Will it? And so I knew I needed to relax into it, but how, when there's other people involved, how do you just go with your heart and relax into those situations? Because I could feel her as my body tense. I could almost feel her backtrack a little bit, and I didn't want. Yeah, she was so sure that she wanted me in the role. And I don't want to sort of push people away or change their minds.
Yes. I hear you 1,000% on that. This is such a great question. So I feel Archangel Uriel as the next angel who's coming forward right now to support you with this. So what he is showing me with regards to, what you just shared is that in the moment, and this is something that does take practice, but I feel like now with this awareness of what we're going to share, it'll help you to, in the moment of that happening, to lean into this, So in the moment of, let's say, you receiving, like you shared, news or something happening, and it's like, in the moment we feel our body tense up or we have a certain reaction, right? So in the moment, he's saying the first thing is to it's about simply receiving the information and allowing ourselves to sit with it before feeling that we need to respond or you know what I mean? So it's kind of like that space of, first and foremost, of, okay, I'm receiving information right now. Let me breathe into this as best as I can, because again, when we're in the moment, we don't know what's going to happen or what our bodily reaction will be. So it's as best as we can in that moment to connect with our breath and to say, I'm simply receiving this information right now. I'm going to sit with it to then be able to have an appropriate response to what I might want to say or whatever. You know what I mean? So that's the first step to this. The next thing that he's talking about, and this is really connected to what you shared about, well, how do we navigate something when there's other people involved and this and that and a million other things? He is, first of all, saying that it's important to, and this is a really beautiful practice that I love to implement, and he's sharing this with you as well, is taking the thing. So let's say in this example, it's this opportunity, and I personally like to see it as almost like a ball of energy. Like each thing, an opportunity, a person, this, that, it holds its own energy. So it's like you're holding the energy of the opportunity, and you're first of all going to connect with it and see, is this the alignment with my soul, with my heart? Kind of feeling into how holding it, how does your body react? How does your energy react to it? When you hold it close to you, does your body start to contract? Do you feel your energy starting to contract, which would mean that it's actually not in alignment, even if your brain might say, well, this is a really good thing, like we should do this, whatever, you know what I mean? Versus you're holding the energy in your hands and feeling it close to you, and then you feel this expansiveness in your body. You feel an expansiveness in your being. And this is where you say, oh, okay, so my energy, my body is saying yes to this. You know what I mean? So this is where you're truly connecting with your soul and with your divine being to, first of all, come into consideration, is this something that my mind thinks it should be doing, or that makes practical sense, or is this something that really truly resonates with me? You know what I mean? So that's the next step. So let's just say then that in that moment you feel that expansive, you feel that like yes feeling in it. After that, it is very normal for the mind to still come in and be like, well, logically, how are you going to make this happen? This, do you have enough time, et cetera, right? So let's say that's the situation where now the logic part comes in and says, how are you going to make this happen? Because, blah, 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 XYZ, this, whatever. In that case, then what is important, and this is where you're really going to call on Archangel Uriel to support you in that specific situation, then what you're going to do is bring yourself into a place where you feel, when you can feel into the empowerment that that this opportunity, let's say, brings within your body, within your energy, understanding that sense of empowerment that you feel within yourself gets to then be reflected and received by others around you. So if this is an opportunity that's going to be expansive to your being, empowered for your being, all of those things, then, let's just use kids as the example, because that's often a big thing that we experience is mom guilt, right? So it's like, okay, so if this is an opportunity that empowers me and expands me, then that means that is going to be reflected to them as well, which means that they are going to, whatever they're meant to receive from this, from my experience of becoming more empowered, more connected, more whatever the thing is, they're going to feel a reflection of that. And who doesn't want to, be able to give that to their children as well, to be able to, for them to experience that, to learn that, to be able to embody that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that then helps us to see, okay, this makes sense for me to do because, there's nothing to feel guilty about, because I'm actually doing a service to everybody, to myself and to my family, to my kids, etc. You know what I mean? If there's an issue in terms of like logical things, like, well, how am I going to find enough time? Because I already do all these other things. Like, where am I going to find the time to do this? That's something where I immediately hear Archangel Uriel be like, I'll trust in the divine rearrangement that gets to happen when you say yes to your own power and your own expansion. You know what I mean? So that is something then that when it comes to like logical stuff with time, with, even if it's like something financial or whatever, but we feel the yes, he's like, trust in the divine rearrangement that gets to happen from that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And then and from there, that's where with those things we hand off to the universe and say, okay, show me. I feel the yes inside of me. I feel the expansiveness. I feel the empowerment. And I get it with, how the people around me will feel that sense of empowerment too within themselves. So now show me, the rest of the pieces, how they're meant to fall in. And then that's where we take each next step by step, to be led into how this then fits into our life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that help?
And yeah, everything that you're saying is sort of connecting back as well, because before all this started, I hadn't had a job while I was a mum. My husband works away, and so I had to sort of, really support my kids. And I sort of lost my ability to feel my body
Yeah.
and how emotions felt there. And
Mm-hmm.
I lost my confidence, and I didn't even know. I remember my kids asking, like, "What's your favorite movie, Mum?" And I was like, "I don't know. Like, we've been watching
Mm.
cartoons, you know, for years."
Yes.
You sort of, I'm slowly finding all of that, and I think getting used to that rhythm as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hopefully I won't lose. If I accept that, I won't lose my confidence again. Hopefully.
Right. Yes. Yes. And I hear you on that. And what I hear coming through again, Archangel Uriel, is what he's saying is that in your kind of like acceptance and willingness to step into the unknown, because in a way it is an unknown space that you're moving into, right? In this rediscovery of self and all the things, he's saying that that's actually the most beautiful way for you to build your confidence, because you're going to step into the unknown. It feels a little bit like, ooh, scary. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do this, you know? And,
Yeah.
but what he's saying is that in doing it, you're going to find how capable you truly are, which is then going to show, like, mirror back to you how powerful you are, how capable you are, and then that's going to help you to feel even more confident in yourself. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like it's going to mirror back to you your potential, which then supports your continued expansion, you know?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
probably kind of a good thing for everyone, because you meet people that have this purpose, and
Mm-hmm.
that's very impressive. Like, I love that people know where they're going, but
Yeah.
I've just been following the breadcrumbs, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to sort of just enjoy that journey sometimes, don't you?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And I love that you brought this up, because I recently taught this somewhere in one of my classes or in a video somewhere, and I shared how there's kind of two different pathways that people feel. One is this bigger calling, that there has this big vision, and that there's like this, okay, I know where I'm going, just like what you talked about. And for others, it's like, I just know this one next step, and that's all I know
Yeah.
right now. I just know this one next step. I have no idea where this is taking me, but this is the next step. And I said, regardless of which pathway you resonate with most in your journey, or at certain parts of your journey in your lifetime, both will lead you in the same place. Do you know what I mean? Like, the people
Yeah.
who have the big vision, that's beautiful and perfect. People who don't have the big vision but have just one each next step, that's also beautiful and perfect, because at the end of the day, that's the unfolding that was meant for, each of those people. And at the end of the day, it's going to lead you to the same place, which is the deeper connection with yourself and who you're meant to be. And so I
Yeah.
love that you recognize that. And it's simply just about the breadcrumbs, like you said, following the breadcrumbs and following each next step, because it will lead you to where you're meant to go. And
Mm.
that's the beautiful thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good fun.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, absolutely. So from here then, do you have any questions leading, like, up to this point, what we've talked about, anything else coming up, specifically what we addressed, or anything else now coming forward for you, thinking about the breadcrumbs, or thinking about the next steps, or anything else?
Not really. I sort of need to finish some things off. So the rest of
Mm.
the year is going to be pretty busy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the role, because I'll be working with, like, in a classroom support role, and I think
Mm.
it's mostly with children that have um, issues that are coming out as behaviour
Mm-hmm.
problem.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm just really excited to do what I can for those kids, because
Yeah.
yeah,
I love
yeah,
this so much, so much. And so I just want to share what comes through as you share that, because I do feel angelic guidance coming through. I really feel Archangel Zadkiel as the angel who's coming forward to support you in this role. And I
okay,
feel him as kind of like this, almost like an overarching, like, supportive energy for you and for the children. So it's almost like he's a constant that's there with you in this role. And so what he's saying is that, um as you step into this, and as you kind of, move through what is what this role is leading you into. He's talking about calling on him as like just that constant kind of support, even as a daily practice, even if you wanted to, where, just kind of something along the lines of, Archangel Zadkiel, thank you so much for supporting me today. Please come through and help me to show up for these kids. Please help me to know what they need or whatever. You know what I mean? Like anything along those lines that resonates with you.
Yeah.
But that he has that kind of like, it's like, I feel like this connecting bridge between you and your presence and then the children and, whatever things they are working through or going through or whatever, that you then help bridge the gap to help them move through, to heal, to whatever the thing is for them, so that they can, develop the way that they're meant to. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And you're kind of like there for them, and he's bridging that gap between the two of you. So I feel his role being very, very supportive for you and for the kids, which feels amazing.
Because I was sort of thinking, I almost need to do like a daily prayer or something to remind myself as I go into the classroom. Like, so I can call on him.
Yeah. Yep. Every day. Yeah. Calling him to help every day. Or even, I'm not really sure how exactly the role works, in this case, but let's say, for example, even if you're in a conversation with a child, let's say, or you're like specifically sitting down with them or whatever, you can even in that moment, like in your head, be like, okay, Archangel Zadkiel, please come forward and help support this energy right now, or help lead us, this conversation or whatever the thing may be, to support this child right now. Please help me to understand what they need to support them, et cetera, whatever makes sense in the context. But you know what I mean? Even in the moment, you can call on him and he'll support you.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. No, I was just thinking about that the other day. Yeah.
Yes.
So, that's fantastic.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah. He's such a great angel to support with. I find him often coming forward to support, adults who are supporting children, or to support children and specifically. So he's definitely coming through strongly to support you.
Yeah.
So,
excellent.
Yay. Awesome. Anything else that's coming up for you right now as we go through this conversation?
No, I don't think so. I think,
okay. Awesome. Yeah, so let me share what else I feel coming forward, because I do feel Archangel Raziel and I also feel Archangel Michael as the two angels who are coming through to kind of bring you guidance. So with Archangel Raziel, what I feel him bringing forward, he's bringing you a message that's related to your gifts and related to your spiritual expansion and kind of how your growth and development as it's happening right now at this point in your journey. So he's talking about how, and it feels very much related to, the role that you're stepping into and what you're doing. It feels like there is so much, it's like this beautiful opportunity and like blossoming that's unfolding, that's happening, where it reminds me of like the imagery that he's bringing to me is of a flower that hasn't blossomed yet, that's still in its like little bud. That's what it feels like. It feels like that little like closed bud, but that's ready to open. And that's what I feel with regards to where you're at right now on your journey and what you're stepping into with this role, is that you're going to really be able to see things that you haven't seen about yourself before, that hasn't been kind of as obvious for you before, but that is going to be very undeniable for you in terms of your gifts, in terms of your ability to support, to help, to bring through whatever kind of space you're meant to hold for others as you support them, in this role. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like his message for you is really one of, you're going to be amazed and maybe, kind of like blown away by the beauty of these gifts that you hold within you that maybe you haven't recognized before or paid attention to before. So I feel like there's an opportunity here to really honor yourself as you go from bud to blossoming flower, of really honoring kind of like, oh wow, like this is what I'm growing into, and it's scary and exciting and amazing and all the things all at the same time. You know what I mean? And he's reassuring you that this is meant to be part of your process as you grow, as you expand. So that's what he wants you to know with regards to that. The other thing, yes, you're welcome. The other thing is Archangel Michael. He's coming forward, and I feel what I hear him saying is steadiness, and it feels like he's coming forward to bring in a feeling of steadiness within your being. So it's like as I see him coming in, it's like he's placing his hand right at your back so that you feel like, okay, I'm sturdy, I'm strong, I have this sense of support behind me, where he's supporting you with this because as we grow, right, if you think about any sort of flower or tree or whatever, there's like as they expand or grow, what also grows is the roots, right? And what grows is the sturdiness that tree stands within, you know what I mean? So he's that's the analogy that he's using, that as you are expanding and growing in your energy and your expression and your expansion and in what you do and how you support others, there's also a growth that's happening within your sturdiness. And that's why he's coming in and helping you to feel like the steadiness within your being, within who you are, that continues to be grounded here, like within your values and within what's most important to you. And that it doesn't mean that there has to be like, less of this in order to have more of that, or this or that or whatever, that it all gets to expand and be steady within you. You know what I mean? That you're that source of steadiness, and then he's here supporting you with that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. That relates. I feel like that ties back to everything. I was sort of my personality, that I was told as a child, my, the sensitivity is going to be my strength. Because it will be my connection. No, wow. That's how I feel it came through anyway.
Yeah. I totally feel that. I love that so much for you. That's so exciting. So amazing. So exciting.
Yeah. So good. I feel like I'm just in a little bubble at the moment.
Yay. Yes. And enjoy every single moment, every single aspect of that, because it's such a beautiful space to be in.
Yeah. It is. Yeah.
Yay. Awesome. Do you have any other final questions or things coming up for you before we end our session today?
I feel like I should tell you how I found you.
Yeah, I would love to hear it. Yeah, absolutely.
So quite often I'll meditate in silence. I prefer absolute silence.
Yeah.
But I had my Reiki teacher give me a guided meditation, and it talked about angels, and I didn't really know much about angels. And so it said for them to name who they were, and then it gives you a space, and Ariel came up. And I was like, why is a Disney mermaid coming through? Why did that come through? Because I had no idea.
Right.
Anyway, I felt afterwards, I felt the nudge to Google, and you were in the YouTube videos, but I would never have known.
That's so cool. And so, I love that.
It's funny how they give you a name, to sort of, that you won't know, to guide you on the path. And now here we are.
Yes.
Crazy.
Oh my gosh, that is so incredible. I love that so much. Such an amazing story. And yeah, it's so funny how it came through too, I feel, in such a way where you're like, wait, this is really too strange for me to not look it up. You know what I mean? And then to search it and now, like you said, here we are. I love that so much. I love how the angels guide us. It's amazing.
It is. It's very fun and funny.
Yeah. Yes, I totally agree. Totally. Well, thank you so much for sharing that story. I love it.
No worries. Oh, well, thank you for being there.
Yes. Yes. I'm so glad that the angels guided me, way back when to make those videos. So that's amazing. So good. Awesome. All right. Well, that concludes this episode. Thank you so much again, Lauren, for being here with us. It was such a pleasure to connect with you and to be able to channel this angelic guidance for you today. For those of you who are listening in, if there's anything that resonated with you that you want to share in the comments below, or anything else, sending our love to Lauren today. Send your love to her. Thank you again for being here with us. And so, as always, I'm sending you so much love and angel blessings, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye. If you are someone who is seeking to be supported by the angels, to deepen your connection to the angels, to understand how to work with them in your everyday life, then I invite you to join me inside of my membership group called the Angels Guild, where we go deep in understanding how to connect with each of the archangels, understanding how they are here to support you, and to guide you on your journey of growth, of connection, of living in your highest potential, opening up to your gifts, living in your truth, and being empowered in who you are. Join me inside of the Angels Guild. All of the details to join the membership are in the show notes below.